Minnesota Senate Transportation Committee to order. Today is Monday, April 13th. The time is 3:08 p.m. We are in room 1100 of the Minnesota Senate building. In accordance with the rules of the Senate, the following members will be participating remotely in today's hearing. Senator Carlson from Egan, Senator McEwen from Duluth. The quorum is present. Members, we have two items before us today. We're going to hear information from Greater Minnesota Transit, those who are operating our transit systems throughout Greater Minnesota, what their financial circumstance and picture is, learn a little bit more about that. And then we're going to hear the initial presentation of the finance provisions today. So today is what we call rollout. And then Wednesday, we'll take that bill back up for the purpose of testimony, discussion, and amendments. And if the committee so agrees, then we will vote on it on Wednesday to send it on to its next stop, which is the Finance Committee. So with that, I believe Senator McEwen is going to help us with the presentation of Senate File 2957 from Duluth. And so I would invite Ms. Bunyan, do you want to come forward with your testifiers? And then we'll ask Senator McEwen to kick us off. Welcome, Senator McEwen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Great.
Very good. I just need one moment. I'm opening my materials here. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members, for the opportunity to provide a brief overview of Greater Minnesota Transit, some accomplishments, and also some unmet needs. Minnesota has 28 rural transit providers and 5 tribal providers, providing over 3 million annual passenger trips, as well as 7 urban transit providers, which provide over 4.3 million passenger trips, and that includes Duluth Transit, Matt Bus of Fargo-Moorhead, Cities Area Transit, Grand Forks, Metro Bus in St. Cloud, Mankato Transit, Rochester Transit, and MTC La Crosse-La Crescent. Greater Minnesota offers a variety of transit options to meet the diverse need of its residents, including fixed route bus service, providing scheduled transportation in larger communities, offering reliable and frequent service, and as well as dial-a-ride service, which is a flexible option for smaller communities, allowing residents to request transportation on demand. With us today are 2 testifiers, Brandon Nurmi, President of Minnesota Public Transit Association and Transit Director of Arrowhead Transit, as well as Chris Belden, General Manager of Duluth Transit. Thanks.
Very good. Gentlemen, which of you would like to go first?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, members of the committee. My name is, as Senator McEwen has let you know, my name is Brandon Nurmi. I'm currently serving as the president of the Minnesota Public Transit Association and director for Arrowhead Transit. Arrowhead Transit is the largest rural provider for public transit in the state of Minnesota and geographically the 2nd largest in the country. So in your packets, you will find the map that shows the various transit systems operating in Greater Minnesota. We have 40 total public transit systems serving all 80 counties. And all the transit systems are being funded currently through a financial partnership that includes local, state, and federal participation. Now, public transit is not simply about moving people from one place to another. It's about removing barriers, creating access, and giving individuals the chance to live full and independent lives. Our older adult population continue to increase, and transit helps them to get to their medical appointments, shopping, and other trips. Our Greater Minnesota bus service is affordable, flexible, cost-effective, and reliable. When people have access to transit, they are able to stay employed, remain independent members of their community, saving the state millions in health and human services expenses. Most riders in Greater Minnesota use transit because they cannot drive or do not have access to a vehicle, and it can be difficult to get a ride from others. In a fairly recent survey, 75% had household incomes below $25,000, 2/3 did not have access to a vehicle, and 26% had a driver's license. Only 26% had a driver's license, while 63% reported having a disability. Work trips were cited as the most common type of transit trip. About 38% and at least half or more of the respondents use transit for getting to work. Nearly all riding multiple times a week, and many rides every workday. 63% of those stated that without transit services, they would lose their jobs. So transit supports local jobs, provides further economic benefit to local communities, and those workers then spend their money in those communities supporting local business and economic development. A study a few years ago noted total cost savings for Greater Minnesota was estimated at $19.1 million in 2017. The savings was established based on the total number of transit riders that would not be able to maintain employment without transit and the number of payments they would collect. So public transit is moving forward. But of course, we have multiple areas of investment that we're still going to need to continue the good work that we are providing to Greater Minnesota. We are still behind on purchasing buses and maintaining a good state of repair for our assets. And operating costs, thanks to inflation and other cost drivers, continue to be a challenge for especially rural providers. So in the future, we are looking forward to the return of the general fund appropriation back to the Greater Minnesota Transit so that we can continue to do the work that so many systems have done so well for so many communities. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Nurmi. Senator Johnson-Stewart.
I have a quick question, Mr. Chair.
Senator Johnson-Stewart.
So I am familiar with some of the data that the testifier mentioned, and you said something that was one of the pieces I was trying to find. Something like 33% of people in rural Minnesota wouldn't be able to work without transit. Could you help me get that? You mentioned it, and I couldn't get it. So something about the number of people in rural Minnesota who rely on transit to work, if you could repeat that.
Yeah, so
Mr. Nurmi.
Sorry. So in 2017, they did a survey. And in that survey, one of the findings was that 33% of respondents utilized public transit to get to and from work and would lose their employment without access to that transportation.
Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to emphasize that. I used that statistic when I was here in the Senate the first time advocating for rural transit, wanting people to make sure they heard loud and clear how important it is for work that people have access to transit, not just in the metro area, but that it's extremely important, especially in rural communities where people just don't have that. So thanks for your advocacy, and I just wanted to make sure people heard the number that 33% of the survey respondents just wouldn't be able to work if they didn't have access. So it's really important. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you. Other questions, member? Senator Jasinski.
Just to verify again, so 33% of the respondents, but not 33% of the population of the respondents, correct?
Mr. Nurmi.
Thank you.
All right, members. Senator Nelson.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Well, just to kind of continue that discussion briefly, just because I was kind of wondering myself, because that is a very telling statistic, but it would be most helpful to know what percent of people did respond. In other words, in total. I don't know how the surveys were put out or how they were distributed, but as we go down further to think about that, certainly I'd want to get more statistical information on that particular statistic, because I do think it's very important about the surveys, how they were distributed, where they were distributed, what percents came in, all that kind of thing.
Great. So we will work with the Minnesota Public Transit Association see Ms. Munyon nodding her head, and we'll get that material pulled together and we'll distribute it to the committee and post it on the committee website. All right. Anything further, members? There's no questions for Mr. Nurmi. We have Chris Belden also joining us from Duluth through the magic of technology. So Mr. Belden, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Dibble, Senator McEwen, and community members. My name is Chris Belden, and I'm the Executive Director at the Duluth Transit Authority, and I want to share with you some of the exciting things going on with public transit in the Duluth area, and to share some of the positive impacts we have on our community. Since 2021, the DTA has seen a 46% increase in fixed route ridership and a 65% increase in paratransit service for folks with disabilities. 2025 was an all-time high record ridership year for paratransit, and it continues to climb as our region's aging population grows rapidly. The DTA is one of the highest performing transit systems in the nation and receives additional funding as a result. 7,000 to 9,000 people rely on us daily to get them to work, school, medical appointments, and so much more. Without us, our economy would struggle, people would be without work, students would not gain the skills they need for the workforce, and people would see their health decline. A large part of our success has been our bold approaches to tailor service to the needs of our community. Almost 3 years ago, we completely reinvented our system, and it is paying off. The backbone of our new system are 2 arterial BRT routes that we call the GO lines. Those 2 routes now carry over half of our total ridership with around 4,000 rides a day. That ridership outperforms many of the BRT routes around the country, and we've done that with very little funding by comparison. We plan to continue improving on those routes over the next few years. Public transit is one of the best tools in the toolbox. It's a proven solution for our economic opportunity, lowering costs that would otherwise be spent on expensive car infrastructure, lowering emissions, improving health outcomes, and so much more. It also has a 5-to-1 return on investment. So I want to thank you all very much for listening and for your continued support. And like Mr. Nurmi said, we look forward to restoring the general fund appropriation next year.
All right, questions, members, for Mr. Belden? All right, thank you for the testimony and thank you for the great information. This map, I'm gonna have to maybe spend some time with you on the map because it's confusing on how it works exactly, but it does show just the 40 different systems that are out there and where they are, and there's quite a bit of diversity in how they operate, and it's really interesting work, but it's vital work. It's super crucial that we have strong, robust, healthy transit options for folks who live in all parts of our state. Can't emphasize that enough. It's just so important for keeping people, as Mr. Nurmi and others have said, in their homes, connected to work, connected to the other parts of their lives that they need access to. So appreciate that. And I too look forward to this coming session when we can restore those cuts that were made. This committee had to bear a good large portion, even though I think all told we handle 1% or less of the total general fund in our state. We were responsible for more than a third of the reduction in general fund spending in our budget last year, and it had a disproportionate effect on Greater Minnesota Transit and metropolitan area transit. And so more cuts were proposed for this year. This committee is rejecting those cuts, at least in the metro area. All right, Senator Johnson-Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I have one short question. So there's a big white spot in the middle here. Does that mean that those residents don't have access to rural transit? And then at the same time, I would ask, is the intent that everybody be covered? And so are the tribal areas just FYI, or for example, does Arrowhead Transit include service to those tribal boundaries?
Mr. Nurmi or Mr. Belden.
So the tribal areas have their own tribal transit. We do some coordination and cross handoffs, like for instance, FDL does a ticket share with us. So if they buy their tickets from FDL, they work on Arrowhead Transit and vice versa. We do have some crossover service that works with the tribal transit, but each of the tribal areas have their own transit and their own funding for that.
And then the big white spot?
The big
Mr.
white
Norman.
spot, I believe, is not, it doesn't have full coverage of transit.
All right, so we have some work to do in the very center of the state to make sure folks there have access to what they need to get to their lives. Is there Mr. Norman, how does that, how would the either Minnesota Public Transit Association, local authorities, Department of Transportation, how would they go about addressing filling in a white blank like that?
So there are multiple ways of doing it, but generally the way it works is that local communities or local legislators would make the request and work with the Department of the Office of Transit and Active Transportation to develop a plan to put a transit system in that area. As the senator was pointing out, part of that is covered by tribal transit.
Great, thanks so much. All right, anything further, members? All right, well, thank you so much. Senator McEwen will give you the final word, actually.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I don't think I could have said it better myself. I know here in Duluth, we take a lot of pride in the Duluth Transit Authority, and all of those public ways that people are able to get around are just absolutely vital in our community. And I know even in more rural communities than Duluth, that sort of real reliance and the keen importance of having those services available to people so that they can live their lives is just fundamental. So thanks very much to the committee for hearing us today.
Actually, Senator McEwen, I apologize. I meant to ask this of Mr. Belden. Where did the bus rapid transit lines run in Duluth? That was really exciting to hear about.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Primarily, it runs along the busiest local streets within the city, so Grand Avenue and Superior Street and up to UMD. And then from downtown Duluth up Central Entrance, which MnDOT will be rebuilding within the next 5-ish years or so. And over time, we'll be building out the stations, which we do not have today. So we're incrementally developing that over a number of years, but we're already seeing wild success before even doing much of that.
Great, thanks so much. Appreciate that information. All right, anything further, members? All right, thanks so much. So now we will turn our attention to Senate File 3988. And it's a bill that I am carrying. I'm just going to remain here at my seat, and we'll have the provisions, a walkthrough of the provisions. We'll turn to our able counsel and able fiscal staff, fiscal analysts, to help us understand what this initial proposal is. And members, this is just the initial proposal, so, maybe things you don't like, maybe things are missing. We'll have that discussion on Wednesday, of course, when we do markup. So how would we like to divvy okay, Ms. Boyd, if you could please take the honors.
Mr. Chair and members, I believe I'll start with a walkthrough of the spreadsheet. It shouldn't take very long, hopefully. So I'll be walking through the provisions on the right, 6 columns under Senate File 3988A1. Excuse me.
Let me just, before you start, mention, members, you'll see things here that we haven't seen again. They're identified as the chair's mark. They're not actually the chair's mark. There's not much of that in here. These would be some of them would be the governor's proposal, which just showed up in our office this morning, as a matter of fact. And I'm actually not going to be signing the bill and dropping it in because the elements that I agree with we're just taking in here. So that's why we're seeing those here for the first, well, we actually posted it last Friday, so I'm sure everyone pulled that bill off the committee website last Friday and read it thoroughly all weekend long. So that's why some things might be identified as like my initiative, not really my initiative. They're some of the elements from the governor's proposed budget that we're taking into this bill. So that's what that is. Okay, sorry, Ms. Boyd, please continue.
Mr. Chair, thank you. So we'll start with Department of Transportation. On line 3, there is a statutory appropriation from the Air Transportation Services account. That's within the state airports fund, and that's related to a transfer between accounts that I'll mention later. Line 4 is a $250,000 one-time appropriation, can you hear me? From the Rail Service Improvement Account for various passenger rail projects that are in the languages in Article 1, and I can point that out at the end as well. And that's, like I said, from the Rail Service Improvement Account in the Special Revenue Fund. On lines 6 and 7, this is an appropriation extension for a Progress Parkway and project in Evelyn. This was a project in our budget bill a couple of years ago that is due to expire that appropriation of fiscal year 27 and is extended to fiscal year 30. So you just see this is how we track it. We show the cancellation of the amount that is expected to be left and then available longer. That was in Senate File 4132. That was the Senator Farnsworth provision that was heard in committee. Lines 13 and 14 is a similar appropriation extension. This was, I believe, not heard in committee. But this was a 2024 appropriation of $4.8 million from the Trunk Highway Fund for truck parking safety projects at MnDOT, and this extends the appropriation to fiscal year 29. Moving down to Department of Public Safety on line 24, this is related to Senate File 4435, a Senator Jasinski provision that requires driver's education courses for persons under 21. There are a number of little appropriations sprinkled throughout here. I'll point them out. This is $10,000 one time from the Driver and Vehicle Services Operating Account and Special Revenue Fund for a media campaign about the new change in law. Lines 26 through 28 are governor's recommendations related to capital security. These are all from the general fund. $10.8 million in the first biennium and $5.4 million in the second biennium for capital security enhancements. $12.2 million in the first biennium, $13.5 in the second biennium for capital security screening. And then a one-time state patrol deficiency funding of $1.9 million in fiscal year 26. Line 29 is blank at this point. The fiscal note is still in process, and I'm hoping we get that before Wednesday, and we can update that number, but this was part of Senate File 3236, I believe is the number, Senator Johnson Stewart's bill from last week, where we had a motorized bicycle safety coordinator created in that bill, and this would be the cost from the active transportation account in the Special Revenue Fund to fund that position. So we'll get that filled in. Line 31 is governor's recommendation to sunset the driver's license same-day issuance pilot. I believe that was enacted in 2021. There were two providers of those which are no longer providing the same-day licenses, and that would be a sunset of the pilot, and that would be a savings to the Driver and Vehicle Services Operating Account of $155,000 a year, no longer appropriated for that program. Continuing under Driver and Vehicle Services, another governor's rec on line 35. This would be a repeal of a biennial system audit requirement that is it's being repealed. It's biennial, but it's booked as an annual amount of a savings of $78,000 per year. Also for the Driver and Vehicle Services Operating Account. Let's see. Line 37 is from Senate File 4426. This is a Senator Pratt provision that was heard in committee to offer a speech condition indicator on driver's licenses and ID cards. That's a one-time appropriation of $141,000 from the DVS operating account for the card vendor contract amendment and updated costs of updating applications for licenses and ID cards. Lines 38 and 39 are related to Senator Jasinski's provision for driver's education for those under 21. Line 38 is a one-time cost of $138,000 for rulemaking related to the program. Line 39 is a $3,000 one-time appropriation for, I believe that's for translations for changes in the driver's manual. And those are both from the DVS operating account as well. Line 43 is a one-time appropriation from the active transportation account in the Special Revenue Fund for a public education campaign related to electric-assisted bicycle safety. That was also part of Senator Johnson Stewart's Senate File 3236 for e-bike provisions. Line 45 is from Senate File 4235, Senator Hoffman's bill requiring the removal of insignia from public safety vehicles, emergency vehicles before their sale. This is a statutory appropriation. Any civil penalties collected for violations of that new requirement would be deposited in the Victims of Crime account in the Special Revenue Fund, and those amounts are statutorily appropriated to the Office of Justice programs. So that's the appropriation you see here, $90,000 a year. And related to that, on line 50, there's an appropriation to the Office of the Attorney General related to the cost for enforcement of that provision, $142,000 starting in fiscal year 27 and every year thereafter from the general fund. And I believe that is 0.5 FTE attorney in the AG's office. And then just briefly on line 62, that represents the transfer. That's again the governor's recommendation to transfer one-time $550,000 from the aircraft capital account to the air transportation services account. These are both accounts within the state airports fund, but the transfer does need legal authority to take place. That's transfer provision of that. And then on the next page, on line 72, shows the revenue into the air transportation services account. Line 80 shows the revenue to the Victims of Crime account that is statutorily appropriated to the Office of Justice programs related to the sale of emergency vehicles. And then just the bottom line on line 91 shows the net general fund impact of the provisions in the DE. That would be an increase of spending of about $25.1 million in the first biennium and $19.2 million in the second biennium relative to base. I believe I already, I'll just note, footnote 2, that the bill also it doesn't appear on the spreadsheet, but the bill also contains the governor's recommendation to expand eligibility for public safety officer line of duty death benefits. It's estimated to increase general fund expenditures under that program by $1.3 million, but can be absorbed in the current appropriations, so it doesn't appear in the tracking sheet. And just briefly, Mr. Chair, in the first article, if you look at the DE, there are two things that don't appear on the tracking sheet. On page 6, section 5, it won't appear in the tracking, but I should have footnoted it, so I will do that in the next version of the tracking sheet. This is a requirement for the Metropolitan Council to use part of the allocation from the Regional Transportation Sales Tax and make a one-time grant of $300,000 to the I-494 Corridor Commission in fiscal year 27. And then I'll also point out section 8 on page 7. This was that $250,000 one-time appropriation from the Rail Service Improvement Account related to various passenger rail provisions. And this I just wanted to point out the language that this is what the appropriation is for, intercity passenger rail projects, matching funds, and also costs related to the requirement under subdivision 2 that the Commissioner of Transportation apply to the Federal Railroad Administration for 2 noted passenger rail routes. That's it.
Questions at this point, members? All right. Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll be doing a walkthrough of Article 2, the Transportation, Finance, and Policy Provisions. Members, in your packets, you should have both a chart and a narrative summary. The narrative summary gives a brief summary of all the sections, and the chart you can use to identify what bills these sections are coming from and check to see by bill where that is in the omnibus. So I won't be going through the chart, but I'll be walking through the narrative summary and the bill. So Article 2 starts on page 8, and if you look at line 15, Section 1 designates a segment of Highway 58 within the city of Zumbrota as the Officer Firefighter Gary L. Schroeder Jr. Memorial Highway. Sections 2 through 7, which start on page 8, line 21, revise mandatory inspection schedule for public bridges and tunnels. They also make technical changes and delete a required report. Those go all the way through 14, so we can skip over to page 14 at line 21. Section 8, suicide prevention, requires MnDOT, with the assistance from the Department of Health, to identify and maintain data on bridges in Minnesota with history of suicide-related deaths, and to develop a methodology to determine when and where suicide reduction measures should be incorporated into bridge projects. Section 9 on page 15, starting at line 16, makes conforming changes related to a previous extension of the time period to submit a motor vehicle registration and title transfer application. Section 10 on line 21 permits owners of farm trucks and commercial one-ton pickup trucks to obtain Minnesota agricultural special plates. Then if you turn to page 16, Section 11 on line 3 amends the definition of rental motor vehicle to include commercial one-ton pickup trucks. Section 12 on that same page at line 12 makes conforming changes again related to the extension of time for submitting a title transfer application. Flipping over to page 17, line 3, Section 13 encodes into statute certain requirements of auto dealers that are currently in rule. And then sections 14 through 17 are again conforming changes related to the title transfer deadline extension. We can skip ahead then to section 18, which is on page 19, line 23. This section 18 permits a tow truck to display a variable message sign while performing emergency services and requires the sign to conform to standards established by the Minnesota Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. On page 20 at line 7, section 19, micromobility device, limits micromobility devices to a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour and a maximum unloaded weight of 100 pounds, and removes motorized bicycles from the definition of micromobility devices. Section 20 at line 18 modifies the definition of motorcycle to expressly include a reference to electric motors and to provide that a vehicle is a motorcycle if it has an electric motor of at least 1,500 watts. Section 21, starting on page 21, line 7, modifies the definition of motorized bicycle to include two-wheeled motorized vehicles that do not have pedals and to include those with electric motors between 750 and 1,500 watts. Under current law, motorized bicycles must have operable pedals, and the power of the electric motor is not specified. Section 22, which starts on line 18, modifies the definition of school bus to permit use for driver training. On page 22 at line 29, section 23 prohibits operating a vehicle on the public roads of Minnesota unless at the time of operation the vehicle satisfies a definition of one of the vehicles defined in section 169.011. That's the definition section for the traffic violations or traffic regulations part of statute. And it also clarifies that it is not enough to just satisfy the broad definition of vehicle that is in that section. Section 24 on page 23, line 13, requires a peace officer who investigates an accident involving an electric assisted or motorized bicycle to report the accident if it results in certain situations that are listed there. In section 25, on page 24, line 9, just makes technical changes to that section. Section 26 on line 19 requires a person under the age of 18 to wear a helmet when operating an electric-assisted bicycle. Going over to page 25, line 9, section 27 requires a person who modifies an electric-assisted bicycle such that it satisfies the definition of motorized bicycle to relabel it as such. On page 26, line 4, section 28 prohibits operation of a motorized bicycle on shared use paths, bicycle paths, and bicycle lanes intended for non-motorized use. It also requires manufacturers of motorized bicycles to affix a label that contains the top assisted speed and motor wattage, and requires motorized bicycles to be certified as complying with certain engineering and safety standards. On page 28, line 7, section 29 establishes a motorized bicycle safety coordinator position in the Department of Public Safety, Division of State Patrol. On 28, line 26, section 30 permits a licensed commercial driver training school to use a school bus to train bus drivers. On page 29, line 20, section 31 requires an operator of a school bus to apply for a US DOT number for the vehicle to aid in inspections. Starting on page 29, line 26, and going through the top of page 30, sections 32 and 33 revise the requirements for school buses to have body fluid cleanup and first aid kits. On page 30, line 9, section 34 requires manufacturers of motorcycles powered by an electric motor to certify they comply with certain engineering and safety standards. Section 35 on line 19, it sets requirements to remove identifying insignia and equipment before a public safety vehicle is transferred to the general public. On page 31, line 20, section 36 provides that a person who is 20 years old or younger must complete a driver's education course before receiving a driver's license. On page 33, line 2, section 37 requires that the Department of Public Safety include a graphic or written identifier of a speech condition or disorder, including but not limited to stuttering, when requested by the applicant. On page 34, line 1, section 38 removes a requirement that the Department of Vehicle Services conduct a biennial audit of the Driver and Vehicle Services Information System. On page 35, line 5, section 39 permits DVS to use electronic validation or verification system that is outside the state to validate or verify certain federally issued identification documents in connection with a non-compliant license application. On page 36, line 15, section 40 expands the situations in which the Commissioner of Public Safety must immediately suspend a person's driver's license to include all cases in which there is probable cause to believe the person committed criminal vehicular homicide or criminal vehicular operation. Section 41 on line 28 is a conforming change related to section 40. Section 42 on page 37, line 11, establishes a program at MnDOT to provide supplemental funding to increase the design life of certain pavement projects. On page 39, skipping over there to line 3, section 43, it reduces the amount of money that must be used for curriculum from the money that is allocated to the active transportation program, from being the first $500,000 to being either the first 10% up to $500,000. And it allows the money to be used for programming rather than only grants. On line 16, section 44 establishes a truck parking improvement program at MnDOT. to support improvements to commercial truck parking. On page 41, line 12, starting there and going through that whole page, sections 45 to 47 modify requirements related to identifying underground utilities prior to excavation, requiring electronic positive response. And we can then move over to page 43, line 13. Section 48 prohibits MnDOT from ordering or allowing railroad crossing bells to be silenced at any crossing equipped with an active warning system. Section 49 at line 18 clarifies language regarding how loan reimbursements are handled for projects financed with state general obligation bond funds and the rail improvement program. And then starting on page 46, line 4, and going through page 50, there are sections 50 through 56, sections 50 through 55. And all of these relate to a change in the peace officer death benefit to modify the definition of what it is to be killed in the line of duty for the purposes of that program. Okay, then moving on to page 50, line 1. Section 56 requires elected officials to provide certain contact information to the Department of Public Safety in order for the department to provide security and law enforcement services, and it restricts the use of any data provided. On page 51, line 1, section 57, this is a technical change, adding lieutenants to the list of state patrol employees. Section 58 at line 17 provides that the statutorily required salary survey of law enforcement officers requires it to be conducted every odd number a year indefinitely instead of sunsetting. And it removes the requirement that a benefit study be conducted simultaneously. And then moving to page 52 at line 24, section 59 permits the state patrol to recruit volunteer chaplains and to provide incidental expenses incurred by them. Section 60 on page 53, line 3, removes an outdated reference to an airport at Pine Creek. On page 54, top of the page, section 61 makes a conforming change related to mandatory license suspension in section 40 for criminal vehicular operation and manslaughter. Page 54, line 12, section 62, oh, sorry. No, that's right. Section 62 makes a conforming change related to the salary survey changes in section 58. At line 17, section 63 requires DPS to implement a statewide information campaign regarding the safe and lawful operation of electric-assisted and motorized bicycles. Section 64 on that page provides for retroactive death benefit claims related to the changes made in sections 50 through 55 and to the peace officer death benefit. And then at section 65 are some repealers. Paragraph A, the statutory repealer there is repealing references to retired scenic routes. And the rule that's being repealed is the one that is being encoded into statute in section 13 related to motor vehicle dealers. And then paragraph B is repealing the language for the same-day driver's license service pilot. And that concludes the walkthrough.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. All right, members, questions at this point? All right. Members, as things occur to you between now and Wednesday, we want to discuss, whatever's in here, whatever's missing from here, et cetera. My door, my phone, my email, wide open. So we can certainly talk about whatever it is that we'd like to talk about before we get in here on Wednesday. Otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for, thank you. So I'll look forward to seeing you on Wednesday to get ready to discuss, debate, mark up, and have a vote on this package. Ms. Ethier says, please retain your materials for Wednesday and put them in your folder if you desire, or take them with you. But if you take them with you, bring them back on Wednesday if you want to refer to them on Wednesday. So, all right, Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make one comment. I had heard the State Patrol made a rescue with our new Trooper 7 helicopter this last week. There was actually a DNR officer out taking down or eliminating a vacant deer stand or something. The DNR officer fell 20 feet. They could not get any other personnel there to rescue that person, so they sent Trooper 7 in, and they made a great rescue with our new helicopter that we funded a few years ago. So great piece of news.
All right, still need to get a ride on that helicopter. I haven't done that yet. It's pretty cool. Also, I'll mention, I heard that there was an incident with the State Patrol airplane down at the St. Paul Airport. So no injuries. 2 people were in the plane. I don't know how badly the airplane was damaged, but no doubt we'll hear more about that. All right. But yeah, great work from our State Patrol. Appreciate it so much. And great work in this committee in giving them that fantastic piece of equipment, and your advocacy, Senator Jasinski. All right. Thank you, members. With that, we are adjourned.